So, Aaron, a lot of folks want to know in situations like this why you started what you started at NXT Soccer. So, break into the why for me and let me know why you wanted to do this in the first place.
Yeah, John, I started coaching soccer as soon as I graduated high school, really. So at 18, I had started doing some private training on the side. I actually had a cousin down in Dublin, Georgia, so South Georgia, Middle Georgia, who I was training with him, and I was down there in Dublin, and I realized that there's actually quite a bit of talent down in South Georgia that we don't get to see up here in the Atlanta area. And I realized I could provide a service to every club across the Southeast in those more rural areas that they don't get here, and provide a pathway to professional academies through our programming.
All right. So, when you look at, for those that look at the sport, and I know that we do on a daily basis, when you get into the high school aspect of it, there are a lot of hidden gems and programs in and around the state. I mean, you go down I-16 and you can go to a place like Vidalia where they've had tremendous success in their girls program. Dublin, you mentioned there with what's going on in Lawrence County. You work your way further down with what we're seeing in Bullock County with Tormenta and Statesboro and all of that. And you go down to the end of it and you're looking at islands and everything that's going on down there in Savannah, just in that I-16 corridor. What's it been like for you to see where the game, I guess, where has the game come from along I-16 in your time, and where do you think it is now?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't been too familiar with I-16 until the past few years when we've been working with Legion FC down there. But our camp in Dublin this past summer, we pulled from 7 different counties along the I-16 corridor. So we had players really from Vidalia, from all those places down there that were coming to our camp. So we were able to see the talent there, and it's really growing. I coach at King's Academy, and we in the playoffs last year played against Bullock Academy. Before that, I couldn't have told you where it was. After that, I mean, they brought the game to us. We lost. So the game has been growing a lot, especially like you mentioned, Tormenta. They're doing a great job with their academy and really growing the game down there in South Georgia out towards Savannah. And it's been great to see.
Now, when you want to do something like this, and I mean, it's really cool for us to discover the idea and reinforce the idea that you might be far away from somebody, but just because you're far away in a distance perspective, there's probably more alike than you would imagine. For you to be able to share those kinds of stories, I think it's really cool, and it's a great reminder that Bullock Academy is look. There's more in common with Bullock Academy than there are probably folks in Northwest Georgia with programs that are dominant there, and what you're doing at Kings. When you get to the chance to go to all of these camps, how close is everyone to being like everyone else that you get the opportunity to share?
Yeah, I think every club is really similar that we work with. This coming summer, we're down in Thomasville, Harris County, Dublin. We'll be here in Woodstock, where we're based, as well as in Alabama and South Carolina. And what we see is that most clubs are operating in a pretty similar thing. They've been growing and growing and growing as the sport continues to grow, adding more and more players, and really aligning themselves, especially with SECL, adding more and more clubs across youth soccer. We've been getting to see these clubs grow, add better and better coaching, more and better methods. And just really what I've seen from, even though Thomasville, is 5 hours from where I am, they're playing the same style of football, and they're getting better and better as the years go on.
Yeah, and it's when you look at, say, single A, double A in the
Mhm.
GHSA perspective, and you get to see what's going on down in South Georgia, you're seeing the growth there. You mentioned Harris County with what's going on in Hamilton, Troop, LaGrange, Columbus High over there in the Western Frontier, as we call it. You're seeing that there. When you came up with this idea, you look on your roster page, and,
Right.
and there's a lot of folks there that a lot of us can gravitate toward. You're looking at Dylan Griner, Matthew DeJaney, Nash Skoglund, Daley Friedman when it comes to coaching, Caleb Weekly when it comes to training, Lily in coaching, Mason Peacock, Luke. I mean, how How did you come up with this roster? Was it just, hitting the Rolodex and going, hey, do you want to be a part of something? Was there any convincing that had to go on? Did you have to to meals or everything? What was it like assembling this roster?
I was fortunate enough to work for the Atlanta United Academy as the Academy Learning Specialist for 2 years. So I was able to build relationships with all the coaches who played within the academy prior to going off to Dylan's at Kentucky, Nash recently transferred to Coastal Carolina, Matthew's still at South Carolina, Mason, who's committed to Furman, Luke, who's at Furman, scored in that College Cup semifinal. So it wasn't too much convincing because I already knew them, fortunately. But we treat them well. Get them a new pair of boots, and they're happy to help.
And when you get to, do you have Zoom calls with all of them to figure out, okay, here's what game plan is? What's the feedback loop like when it comes to all of these different folks?
Yeah, so I'll go through at the end of this month actually and schedule all of them for each camp that they're going to be doing. So once we get all of our partnerships sorted, I'll send out an email to them. Here's your schedule for the summer. Here's what we're going to be doing. Then we'll hop on a Zoom call since they're all, spread out across the Southeast with all these schools. Well, we'll go over, okay, for this camp, here's what we're going to be doing because we don't run the same camp for every club. We work with the club. How do you guys play? Are you more possession style? Because we want to create in our training sessions kind of how they're going to want to play in the season. So we'll create a different camp plan for every single partnership. So then we'll hop on a Zoom call with all the coaches. We'll talk about what we're going to do, how we want to do it, how everything will go, and we'll get that sorted plenty ahead of time.
Is it easy to assemble all of these different puzzle pieces? It's like, well, if at this camp I've got to do it this way, if they're 4-3-3, if they're possession based, if somebody's over here and they're doing Red Bulls press, if someone is like Sean Dyche and they're pragmatic and they want to just put 13 behind the ball. Is it easy to lock in all these different ideas, or how much of a challenge is it for you and the group to sit there and cater to each individual situation?
Right, it's definitely not easy, but we do find that it helps them out a lot more. We're not going to be a one size fits all program. I don't think that's how camp should operate, because we want to create those in game moments and reinforce what the club is teaching them throughout the year when we're in their summer. But yeah, it's definitely not easy, especially because it's just me usually coming up with the programming and then teaching the coaches what we want to do. So I spend a lot of time throughout these 6 months leading up to the camps. But yeah, it's definitely not an easy task.
All right. So you open this door. Let me ask about it. I mean, how much time do you think you invest in prep so you're ready for camp, so you're ready for feedback, so you're ready for more prep, so you're ready for more camp?
So I'm probably coaching, like hands-on coaching at King's Academy. I'm there 4 nights a week from about 3:30 to 10 p.m.
Wow.
So that's, almost 30 hours a week there. And then I probably put at least January and February is not as bad. It's probably 15, 20 hours max. As we get closer and closer and closer, May is going to be in 50 hours a week. And then when we're actually at camp, it's probably 80 hours a week. So, and then we're doing the feedback. August, slows back down as we're just re-upping for the next year. And then I get a few months off when I'm just at club 2 nights a week. So
I was going to say, what's it like cramming for this test?
You don't want to know, John. It's busy.
How busy is it?
I mean, the amount of hours I have to put in when I come back from King's Academy every night, it gets up there. But try to get in bed by 12, up the next morning to get some work in before I'm off to practice. So
how has the game evolved in just the short time that you've wanted to do this with NXT? How much changing on the fly have you had to do when it comes to all of your prep?
Lots, because the clubs they change what they're doing. Every club being different. We've added more and more clubs. I mean, just 2 years ago we were working with 15 athletes for the year. This year will be almost 1,000 athletes probably over the summer. Wow. So as you can imagine, for me that's been a big change. Growing that quickly makes it a little bit difficult. But then actually the training sessions and how they're improving. Every club is getting more and more into it. We're with Pike County this summer, who's partnered with Everton recently. So then they're changing their approach. So just like that, it's been changing a lot. And then obviously adding a lot of hours to my plate, just the more clubs we add.
So, all right. So Osteen has partnered with Everton and they're, so is his keeper like learning from from Pickford here, Jordan Pickford? I mean, how is this working, man?
I don't know. I just know when I went down to Pike County this summer, they said, yeah, we recently just partnered with Everton. So they're kind of changing their approach.
Wow.
to work with them a little bit more, which I didn't even know Everton. They're technically like an international academy.
Mhm.
Didn't know Everton had those here in Georgia, but yeah, Pike County and Pike Fury FC's partnered with Everton. So
Crazy. Aaron Adams hanging out with us at NXT Soccer, and your time with Atlanta United. What did that teach you about doing all this stuff?
so much. I was fortunate enough. Steve Covino in the academy was kind enough to invite me out to be almost like an assistant coach for him a lot for MLS Next games, and then also when he took over the UPSL team for playoffs, he had me there. So I was able to sit behind him, and Javier Perez still has me out to training sessions once a week. So I'm there taking notes, learning from Coach Steve Turek, learning from Jose Silva at the twos, just really taking in as much as I possibly can on Thursday mornings so that I can continue to. I mean, I'm 21 years old and got 10 coaches working for me, so developing them, but I still have a lot of work to develop. So been fortunate enough to learn a lot in those 2 years and still get to the opportunity to learn.
All right. So what you learn? What have you learned from Jose?
Jose, he runs a tight ship over there at the twos. I mean, I'm sure you've been out to training, I'm sure. Even when Steve Cook was coaching, he was out there. He was on those kids. Obviously, I know Cooper Sanchez really well, Aiden, Ashton, Jono. So I hear a lot from them about what they're seeing from him and what they're learning. But yeah, he's taught me a lot just in how to run a training session, how to demand the highest intensity possible.
When you look at your own expectations, and when we start businesses, we're always our own worst critics. We always are. Is there something that you were hypercritical about to start that you've kind of dialed back from and learned from that itself, or are you still giving yourself 30 seconds in the car to sit there and go, I wish I'd done A, B, C, D, and E, and then doing it, then you just dust yourself off and do it again tomorrow? How much in this, all of this learning, have you kind of learned about yourself in all this?
Definitely, I'm still very hypercritical, especially as we continue to grow and grow and grow. I feel like you have to be,
Yeah.
because you're not going to grow if you're not going to be critical about yourself. I mean, we changed a lot just from last year, timing wise. I mean, every single training session we're going to have like, we got a coaches meeting before the session to go over what we're going to do. And then we're going to have a coaches meeting after. Okay, what went well? What do we need to work on for tomorrow? What can we do better? And we're going to be continuing to do that the whole time. I can't think of much that I've laid off of, to be honest, from last year to now, but we'll see.
All right. What was the biggest lesson you learned about last year that you've carried forward to this year?
It's too hot in Middle Georgia. To we we learned we were training at 3 p.m. in
Whoa,
Dublin.
whoa,
Yeah,
whoa.
so we've had to change that up. So we'll be going 6 to 9:30 p.m.
Okay.
This summer. But
All
yeah,
right. Are you at Shamrock Bowl? Is Roger letting you go there, or where are you doing it?
in Dublin we're at Southern Pines Regional Park, so we're hopeful to maybe they just built down there in Lawrence County an indoor facility, so maybe we'll be able to do part of our sessions in there, part of them out, but we'll have to see.
Okay. When you and it's do you have a grand 5-year plan? Is that on a dry erase board off to the side someplace that I can't see at the moment? The way how you want things to grow and evolve?
It's not on a dry erase board, but I can tell you, we're working to start the NXT Foundation, which you can see on my shirt there. But that operates as we want to have at least like 12 free clinics a year. So right now we have, I think, 4 free sessions coming up here in Woodstock, and then we have a free clinic down in Dublin. But adding more community clinics, especially in those rural areas, just to kind of grow the game, create access, because one of my main mission points here at NXT is we need more access, and it shouldn't matter what zip code you come from. You should have the same opportunity that somebody from Atlanta has.
Yeah.
So in 5 years, we want to be in. We don't want to be the biggest training company. That's not our goal, but we want to be one that's providing opportunity and access to players who don't normally have it.
When you go to places like Hamilton and Thomasville and Dublin, what is the initial response when they pick up the phone? Is it why, or is it thank you for calling? We've really got something going on. What's the initial response when you go into these underserved areas?
Right. It's usually like our why behind it. Like, why would you want to come here? Why are you wanting to come here? Obviously, there's a lot of other camps that are calling them. But they want to find out why we want to help them and what we can do. What are we providing that's different than, say, like a Brazilian soccer camp? That seems to be the main question. and how we can also help provide opportunity. So as you might know, like we are working with the Atlanta United Academy that when we have these camps, we almost operate as like RDS for the South. So we are recommending players towards the academy that we then work with Javier, and we work with the scouting staff with the academy to bring in players from these underserved areas.
And you mentioned a really important word, and I think that not a lot of folks get to experience it a lot. It's that four-letter word that starts with the letter F, free. What a lot of folks operate under P&L sheets. They operate. It's like, okay, we've got to make this particular marker. What was it for you? What was the genesis of the idea of doing these free learning sessions?
The real reason is we want to be able to provide access to players who don't normally have access, whether you have, I mean, the money to pay for it or not. We want to be able to give you every opportunity and equal opportunity to play as somebody who has the money. So I think last year in Dublin we had 80 athletes at our elite camp and about 40 at our skills camp, which is for more rec players, younger players. We were able to give out almost $6,000 in scholarships to that camp, and that's a point we want to try to hit this year. So when we look at P&Ls and stuff, we're not looking at can we hit, say $100,000 in revenue. We're looking at can we give out $15,000 in scholarships is what we're looking at.
So do you have angels off to the side that help you out in that, or is this all just elbow grease and making sure that that those kinds of things can happen?
This is just elbow grease, making sure it'll happen. We're hopeful with the NXT Foundation that'll allow us to run more camps and give out more scholarships. But last year, it's just giving out services for free. As long as we break even, we're happy. So
all right. Well, then lay it all out for me. For folks that need to find out more information about what's going on, how do they do it? What's the easiest way to do it? And when do things kick back in for real?
I think the easiest way would probably be following us on Instagram. So that's just at NXT Soccer. Also check out our website, which is nxtsoccer.com. And then we're back into gear. We already ran one camp this year. We were with West Lawrence High School at the end of last month. So working with them down in Dublin as well. And then we are back. I think our first camp this year will be June 8th to 12th in Harris County. And then we've got 4 or 5 other camps that hopefully will be announced within the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks. So all of those should be available soon.
And as always, thanks for letting us know about this. And it's great that you get to be this unifier of communities when it comes to those that want to learn the sport. One more question before I send you to lunch and you can go the rest of your day and sit there nose to the grindstone. When you go into these underserved markets, when you go to a Dublin, when you go to a Hamilton, when you go to a Thomasville, and you see the light come on for a young athlete that might not have had opportunities until NXT walked in the door, what's that like, and what's that feedback like?
It's extremely rewarding for me, at least, to see somebody like that. The feedback is typically good. I think at this free clinic, we're going to have quite a few players who've, especially in Dublin in March is when our free clinic is. We should have quite a few players who have either never played soccer before or never had an experience like NXT soccer before. They're just have the rec soccer, whatever. But we want to be able to provide that higher level experience that they have yet to have. And when we see that light come on, it's extremely rewarding for us because we know if we have an impact on one player, then we've been successful.
There you go. As always, great to see you, Aaron. Thanks for dropping by the morning show, and we can't wait to see you continue to grow things at NXT. Thanks for dropping by.